G'day fellas, and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the southwest side of the map, playing in the colour red as the English. It's Leenock. And on the northeast side of the map in the colour blue, playing as the Malians. No, this is not a fat man, this is not a hippo. This is a bald man, in fact it is himself, it is he himself. It is Liquid the Muslim. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the pit. We're here on the ranked ladder, watching two, not just Conqueror 3 players, but these two guys are masterful Conqueror 3 players. Some of the best in the world. I think the Muslim currently ranked in the top 3. Leenock ranked in the top 10. Both of these guys obviously attending the Wallalol $300,000 Age of Empires 4 tournament that just happened in October this year. And now at the moment on the road, preparing for the next big thing. Golden League 2. It's been announced by EGC TV. All the finer details haven't really been provided yet, but undoubtedly these guys are intentionally grinding the ladder, wanting to make sure that they've got every little bit of experience so that when the day comes, the Golden League Grand Finals, Golden League 2 Grand Finals rather, come around, they are prepared. Speaking of preparation, take a look at this. Leenock through the stealth forest. He is prepared. Look at him go. What an absolute madman. The men-at-arms already out. Interestingly, has he spotted? Yeah, okay, I was going to say, he has spotted the town center. Never mind. I was a bit fearful that he hadn't spotted the town center. And whenever you're running in and you don't know where the town center is, it's always very... Oh, what's the best way to say it? Bold. Bold? Yeah, bold. Probably the best way to say it. But it looks like it's only going to be a 2-men-at-arm opening here. It's got another villager in queue. Might go for a third one. Doesn't look for it, at least not yet. Now adding in the mining camp. Only 2 vills down here. Third vill getting added out as well. And at the moment, just going to be sticking it with the 2-men-at-arms. I guess the question is, like, what are you going to be doing with 2-men-at-arms that you're not going to be doing with... Or what are you going to do with 3-men-at-arms that you're not going to be doing with 2? Right, like, this is already going to be sieging down a house. The one thing that you do need to be careful of, though, is the Musafati, okay? This is something that I've seen before happen against this English opening, is that the Musafati will absolutely trounce you. So, if anything, you probably just want to pull back your men-at-arms because you will lose them so quickly to those Musafati. 2 Musafati will easily take out 2 men-at-arms. And there it is. That's the Saharan Trade Network going to be coming down on the front side. So that's 25 wood gone out. And we do see there's a lot of villagers tapping away at this. 7 villagers on this landmark at the moment. They'll be looking to defend this position. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a blind spot over here. But you've got to ask the question, do you really want to take the risk in going for this if the Musafati come out and kill your men-at-arms? Because those men-at-arms, they do a lot more than just siege down houses. That's unless they get killed while they're sieging down houses. But the age up going to be coming through super quick timing here. He's going to get like a 330, 340 maybe? Very, very fast age up here for the Muslim. Back over on the other side of the map though. Leenock just chilling out, about to drop down his council hall. Undoubtedly, got to be dropping down that council hall. There it is at the front of the base. No real surprises there. Nice little pocket he's got back here, actually, for some farms. House not in the best spot. Ideally, you would have had the house up over, maybe even on the front side, somewhere around there, because you want to try and leave this part of the back for all of your farms, and you want to have the most efficient layout as possible. And that just that just makes me mad, Leenock. Don't be doing that. You're Leenock. There's the age up coming through. It was about 350. So 2 houses in total go down. 50 wood. And it looks like at the moment, we don't see any response coming out from the Muslim. At this point. At this point. But there may be some. Now, the typical response to this, he goes for archery range. Okay, I guess that makes sense, right? Longbows coming out. Normally, what we've been seeing out of the Malians is a very heavy focus on Castle Age. So I'm curious as to whether we're going to be seeing that this game. He's going to be so careful with that scout. All these vills are sitting here underneath the town center. So easily he could have garrisoned and got a couple more attacks onto that. Fortunately, the scout does survive. So the most common thing that we do see is that Castle Age timing. But with the lumber camp being taken out over here, I think the Muslim might be more intent on playing a bit more of a feudal age. And I think if anything, that probably favors the English more than it favors the Malians. Just because one of the things the English love to do, at least as of late, they love to get these big, massive longbows. You know, defend it with a couple of spears and whatnot. and then add in the men-at-arms. And look to try and shred your enemy with those men-at-arms and longbowmen in combination. And look at the timing that Lennox got. It's a 5-minute age up with a barracks and 2 men-at-arms out. Like, that's just beautiful stuff coming out from Lennox. So I think realistically, my thought process here is that Malians should be able to defend against a long English feudal. And so because of that, I think that Lennox is somewhat incentivized to even play a bit more of a heavy economic focus. Whether that's a second... oh my god, he was going for a sneaky stable in the back. Look at that, Lennox. Don't you... you ain't hiding that stable from anybody. At least not from me. You might be hiding it from the Muslim, because his scout's over here. And I don't see a second scout out. So you're doing a good job to hide it. So I'm assuming that he's working on the assumption that the Muslim is going to be just going full javelins. And that's a pretty smart assumption. Now, we obviously did see his scout run past, and he's going to continue coming to the backside here. I don't know if he's got a confirmation or a read on exactly how many javelins it is, but this is a really good read by Lennox in the early stages of the game, because these javelin are expensive. These are like, these are the equivalent of crossbows, right? So if you can catch these out in the middle of the map with 2 or 3 horsemen, you're going to be in a great spot. The first horseman is out. He's actually got it rallied towards the enemy side of the map as well. So he's not looking to hide up 2 or 3. Just looking to start pushing out. And the javelins are going to be meeting one of those longbows. He spots it through the fog from the scout. Looks to take it out. A horseman going to be spotted out here as well. And unfortunately for Lennox, I feel like it just doesn't make sense. Why do you hide the stable and then go and attack with a single horseman? Like, sure. But it doesn't make sense, right? Like, I feel like you wanted to wait for him to push there and then you just completely destroy him. So a little bit of a... I'm going to say that's not a little bit of a fail. That's a lot of a fail right there from Lennox. At least, you know, that was very predictable for me, at least. But maybe that's because I had extra information. Maybe because I knew about those Malian javelin throwers, whereas Lennox didn't know about them. So who knows? I do have Omnivision. I will let you guys know, both IRL and in-game. In replays, I should say, not in games that I'm actually playing. I don't have Omnivision there. Lennox is going to be going for a second TC. So doing the right thing. This is 100% the correct call for Lennox. Needs to be looking for a second town center. Now, one of the things that always scares me a lot whenever I'm playing a second town center against Malians is, well, you guys know what I'm going to say. It's trade, right? Like, you've played really well all game and things are going great, and all of a sudden the Malians like, hey, actually my 50 traders just came online. It's time to dance. And unfortunately they brought dancing shoes, but you didn't, and they just style on you. They're stepping on your toes. It's awkward and it doesn't feel good. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. I'm calling it right now. You know what? I'm not going to call it right now. English is a pretty formidable late game civ, and I think it's probably the only civilization that really can stand up to the Malians. And I think I mentioned this in a game that I casted earlier, is if you're playing as the Chinese, or if you're playing against the Chinese, you don't want to take it late. And by late, I mean like Imperial Age. You don't want to take it Imperial Age unless you're the English or maybe the Malians. And even then I'd be like, maybe not maybe the Malians, but maybe actually the Malians. Because I think they're 100% fine to do it. Blacksmith's now come up for Lennox. Second town center, very, very good. And I'm loving the fact that he's getting his upgrades as well. Lennox's such an economic player. And the thing is, I don't feel like he's ever greedy about it, right? Like, I've watched games where we watched a game earlier where some guy went, Voldemar went 3 TCs naked with wheelbarrow, fresh foodstuffs, golden age, literally like then into fast castle, by the way, and then almost into fast imperial, but he had to make some units in the castle age. Yeah, he stopped for a quick castle age rendezvous. But you get my point, right? Like, that's a greedy, and Lennox known as being a greedy player, but still I feel like he's not that greedy. Like, everything that he's done here, in my opinion, is at least pretty above board, pretty standard stuff so far. Now, the interesting thing to note here is that Lennox might actually die to a castle age timing. It depends how de Muslim plays it. I think if de Muslim goes all in here, Lennox could actually just die, right? Like, how does Lennox defend against mass javelin? If he just plays mass javelin with just, you know, like 10 Donzos and, you know, 10 Musofadi, I don't think Lennox can win. But let's watch, wait and see. Because the age ups come through. A little bit shy of 10 minutes, and 4 horsemen have come out here. Looking to try and get an early jump, and this is not what the Muslim wanted, honestly. You don't want to lose your mass before you even really pushed out. In fact, it was only 3 horsemen and a scout. But he manages to hold a fair bit of it together. He's losing houses at the moment. It's not really that relevant. I mean, obviously the pit mine's ticking, and it kind of sucks to lose it, but compare that to losing your army, and that's a different matter. Now, the question is, how does Lenok react to this? What does he look to do? He's got the farm economy going, adding in a second stable. So I really think at the moment, like, you go one more round of javelin throwers from here, when you can afford it, obviously. One more round of javelin throwers. Look to get the javelin upgrade from the archery range, which is done. Perfectly done. So he's got veteran javelins. And then from here, you can also use the wood, or I was going to say the wood line, rather the palisades as like a safety net, right? Like, you can push out past here, look to try and poke and prod on the berries, or over here on the stone, or something like that. You can look to poke and prod out there, and you can always fall back to the palisades. But in lieu of that, you are going to need donzos. If you push out and you don't have donzos and you get caught, we've seen that Lenok's already this game done a fair bit of attacking with his horsemen. You could get taken by surprise. Not a whole lot of villagers back here. He's got him really well positioned. I love towards like this kind of east side of his town center. Very well positioned. Will scout out the stone outcropping. Gets confirmation on it that there is a second town center up now for Lenok. Villagers do fall back. Watch out for those arrows from the town center. Look at that. That scout might... Oh, my lord. That scout's got to be careful. Raid wasn't successful. Donzos? Donzos? No Donzos just yet. Javelin throwers helping out in the center. Vill's making a bit of a run for it here. He's doing a decent job, though. And now also we see more horsemen coming out. My fear is that there's not enough horsemen, though. Even though the horsemen are really nice, they're buffed up, they've got their upgrades, he's still two-shotting them, right? Which, it's a pretty decent position to be in. And you can see he's kind of struggling with regard to the economy. But the one thing he does have going is he does have the second TC. And that's the big advantage. But I will also note that in addition to that, he's slowing down. Why are we making Mustafadi? Why are we making Donzos? I feel like we should be... We just make 5 Donzos and we never look at a horseman again. Am I wrong? I don't want to tell like one of the best players in the world how to play, how to eat. I think my mum says how to suck eggs, but like, yeah, I don't know. I've seen like 12 horsemen come out of my enemy over the last 2 minutes, and my reaction is like, I need Donzos, bro. Javelin throws. Gonna be able to tee up a couple more shots. Lenok just throwing away units. You can see right now that the difference between the army value is massive. And now looking to try and front line. Scout goes down. Mustafadi going to come in on the front line. Men-at-Arms are here as well. Javelin throwers just running for their lives. Heading in, I'd almost say the wrong direction. You kind of want to head down towards this position down here, but he should be fine to clean these up. Honestly, look at the numbers here. Absolutely fine. Javelin thrower is really looking good. How does Lenok look to hold this? I mean, obviously he's got some pretty good numbers when it comes to his horsemen, but they're all dead at this point. Now forcing back the longbowmen. Men-at-Arms also going to be going down, and the Muslim does indeed clean this up. So now this is the part where it's like, okay, you need to finish this game. How do you finish this game? It's going to be siege engineering. You've got to be looking for that blacksmith into siege engineering, but once again, pushing in. He's going to find more horsemen here. How many stables has Lenok got? Lenok's added a 3rd stable in. This is where I'm starting to get worried, because now you're overextending. You're pushing into the number one Where did all of his army just go? Where did he delete his army or something? He's got 5 javelins out. And this is the consequence of just not adding a few Donzos. Just 5 Donzos would have been so much, because they give so much threat. And then... Alright, I'm just going to walk away from this one slowly and pretend I didn't see it. So now... Okay. So, when it comes to the Malians' win condition in this game, the first one was like fast castle, right? Like that's it. Fast castle into flood. So that one's gone. Wipe that one off the board. Next win condition, trade. Late game trade. So he basically, at this point, I feel like the Muslim's only real chance in this position is to go for some sort of late game trade. He's obviously in the castle age, which means he's got access to relics, sacred sites, but map control is going to be held by Lenok, at least for the interim, with these knights, or rather these horsemen coming out. And remember, he's got an amazing food economy behind this. This is exactly how you want to be playing the English. Double town center. Plenty of defensive bonuses stacked up here. And the villagers just going to be super happy. Gathering up those resources. You can see right now, sitting on just shy of 1,500 food a minute. So Muslim slowly picking up those relics. Relic number 1 going over to him. Let's see how many he is able to take, though. Because remember, the English have got that passive gold income as well. And he's actually going to be going for double mosque. And I do like this play from the Muslim going for double mosque. Probably has the correct read on his enemy that there's too many units for him to be going for any kind of castle age, at least at this point. So he can afford to go for the double mosque. But now we do see a good number of javelin throwers has come through. Please tell me there's going to be a Donzo today. Just one set of Donzos is all I ask for. He's got a barracks out, right? Like, it just... We're up to 18 horsemen now. See, this is the thing, right? Like, and once again, we're coming back to this whole concept of God vision, right? Like, we've got God vision. He doesn't. But at the same time, I feel like you're not seeing longbows and men-at-arms raiding your woodline, are you? Like, this is a very clear direction from your enemy. Speaking of directions, though, Lenok, gonna be looking for that castle age. Expect to see, I don't know, probably down here, maybe over here, maybe down over this spot. Where's he going to drop this landmark? It's gonna be the King's Palace for sure. Now, he's up 24 villages already. Now, one that has gone down. Let's see exactly where he went for it. Yeah, over here on this woodline. This is a really good spot for it as well. So, Lenok obviously on the mark. Javelin throwers. And what Lenok is doing right now, you might think that this is a waste of units. This isn't. This is Lenok buying time. Lenok is buying time right now. He stopped the first push. The second push was incoming. I don't think we saw siege engineering out at the blacksmith. In fact, I don't even know if we can check it. Yeah, we can check it. Siege engineering not yet through. But, you know, another win condition, obviously, for the Malians is the re-up, right? Like, the second go. So as long as Lenok's able to deny that second go from happening, he can get to the late game. But remember, the late game. What other win conditions does our Malian player have? This is going to be one of them. Trade. Now, trade can get set up very quickly with the Malians. So it's imperative that you protect it. And if you ever spot that your enemy's going for it, you need to do everything that you can to deny it, or at least go for trade yourself, depending on your strength. You can now see these units posturing down towards the south side. He might have to look for some stone walls at this point. He's sitting on 75 gold, 75 stone a minute. How many vills are we're talking here? 5 vills on stone. Definitely the right choice to be going for stone right now. And finally, we've got Donzos coming out. They've got their veterancy upgrades as well. These Donzos should be wonderful. Throw their spears off. And just those 5 Donzos are going to be enough to repel this attack. Those 5 Donzo will force them back. We're now back to the middle of the map. Veterancy comes through for Lenok. Horseman upgrade still on the way. Fertilization as well as insulated. No, that is... It's not bloomery. Come on, Drongo. You can do it. Decarbonization. Ah, man. Sometimes you get them. Sometimes you don't get them. I believe that's the quote. It's a famous quote. It's a famous quote. Asmongold. 170 gold on the traders. Not bad. Not bad. That's about what you can expect on this map. I think it always has a 3-tar buffer on the outside. Oh my lord, that ain't a 3-tar buffer. I take that back. That is a big buffer right there. Jeez. That's going to be like a 162 trade. Feels bad, man. Veterancy now coming through on the horseman. Where are those forces for the Muslim? Oh, he's been caught in the middle. Caught out of position. You'd love to have all these forces over here. And as soon as Lenok gets through here, we're right on board with him. He's going to be looking for that trade. That's going to be the big question. 94 villages against 69. It's a nice number of villages for the Muslim. The only problem is it's nowhere near enough compared to his enemy, but he does have one thing on his side. Trade. Donzo's working pretty well here. It looks like Lenok was heading through to the backside, but might get caught out of position. Longbowmen together. Going to be looking to fight up, teeing off towards those javelin throwers. You can see the armor that they've got. 5 armor against the 9 attack. Going to be barely touching them, and the Donzo's overwhelming the cavalry completely. They're not going to have to fall back. He needs to move into siege. Needs to move into men-at-arms. Needs to start looking for that armor cladding as well. Going to be really key here because this push is going to come out. Needs to try and hold a mangonel. He's going to be perfect to hold this position. Let's see if Lenok's got any siege coming down back here. Any siege workshop. No real sign of it just yet. Oh, that is a lot of production coming through for Lenok right now, though. So he's really looking to step up the production. Look at the numbers he's got out here as well. 24 horsemen. That is a lot of horsemen. He should be able to overwhelm this, honestly. Men at arms will be able to tee off towards the front side. Armor cladding about to come through. Horseman numbers looking pretty decent. I think he's got the re-wall through, which means he might have to draw some gates back there, but should be able to get through as long as he doesn't get surrounded. But hold that thought right now. Leenock going in for a surround. Spots a beautiful timing for himself and just cleaned up all of this. Oh, it's a misclick on the deer. A single misclick, and look at Leenock just cleaning house right now. We're in early Castle Age, mid Castle Age, and Leenock, as the English, is beating a Malian player back, and not just that, destroying him on score as well. If there's any way back into this game right now for the Malians, it's got to be trade. It's got to be trade. There's no other way. Look at the difference and that right there is just the consequence of not playing into those donzos. I mean, I felt like I was saying it or harping on it quite a bit throughout this game. I would have loved to have seen even, 10, 15 donzos. It would have been so much just to shut down any kind of cavalry presence that Leenock had. If the men at arms come out, you fall back, you get Musafadi, and then you maintain that javelin mass. That's what it's all about. But the keep looking to come up. Will Lord Doubt smile upon it? It looks like Lord Doubt probably not smiling at the moment, but I'm going to hold my breath right now. No, the keep will go up. Villagers look to try and join the battle for a second. But once again, the Muslim now going to be looking to be on the defensive here. Keep firing towards those men-at-arms, absolutely breaking through them. Not even close. But now having to fall back, and if he goes a little bit too far, the trade will get exposed. And once the trade's exposed, now you're in a world of pain. You are in a world of pain now, the Muslim, because your precious baby has been discovered. 22 traders, 22 of the world's best traders coming out. It gets spotted, and now the longbowmen head into the trade line. He's going to be picking off every single trader he can. Beautiful micro coming out from Leenock. Obviously, a Korean. He's born with natural talent for micro. Very strong player. I like this 5th relic just standing out here. Just in case a rainy day occurs. Rainy day did occur. Unfortunately, the rain with longbowmen and their arrows. not the typical rain that you do see over in the English Midlands, Highlands, whatever you call it. Down to 16 traders now. And not only down to 16 traders, but Leenock says, I won the fight. I'm also going to throw down a landmark. I actually checked in the back of the base. I figured this is where he's going to put it down. He does put it down there as well. Yeah, Wingard Palace. Beautiful positioning for the landmark for Leenock once again. Really on point with his landmark positioning this game. And just now camping the trade up. And this is a really tough spot for the Muslim, right? Because his whole win condition this game, I mean, we talked about it, right? Like, number one, it's that fast castle. And if you don't do it on the first push, maybe you do it on the second push. And that got shut down. And then your third win condition is trade. Having just more trade than your enemy can deal with. And now that's been shut down as well. Leenock's getting to that late game. He's up 50 villagers at this point. So when it comes to that late game contest, not only are you up against the best late game civilization, the English, but you're down 50 villagers as well. And your trade, it's not looking so hot. Let's just put it this way. Avril Lavigne doesn't want to stop for you. I'm trying to think. Was it Avril Lavigne? I pulled that out of thin air. I don't know if it was. Did that hit? You guys know the song. You make me so hot. You make me want to stop. You're so ridiculous. I can barely... I can't remember what it is, but I think that's it. Anyway. I don't remember what I said. I'm going to have to go back and watch that just to make sure it's all child-friendly. Because, we're advertiser-friendly here over in the Drongo channel. We're all friends over here. That is, of course, except for Avril Lavigne. We're very good friends with Avril. Let's take a look back at the base, though, of Leenock. Let's get a count, a villager count. It's 42 vills on food. I feel like it's not enough. Does he have enclosures? Okay, he does. Actually, if we switch to his perspective, we'll see the gold. Give us the gold. There you go. Don't you love to see that English gold coming up? Nothing as beautiful as that. But Demuslim got a stone wall. He finally gets the stone walls up. Now, could you imagine the difference right now if Demo had stone walls up? Instead of this keep that came up, imagine if this keep was a giant stone wall. And then that extra resource that he'd spent on the keep, imagine if he also spent them on stone walls for the middle. And then instead of having 8 traders, he had 22 traders. And then instead of having 19 traders, he would have had like 40 plus traders right now. And he'd be in such an amazing position because those traders really start to stack up, right? You got traders trading the entire time, bringing in that gold. He's got like max tax as well. He'd be in such a sweet spot right now. I feel like whenever you're trading, walls are so important. And not just normal walls. Well, not just palisade walls, but stone walls. So important. By the way, can we just talk about the numbers coming out from Lennox camp at the moment? That right there, that's 5k. Plus that's 6k, 6.5k at the moment. Compare that to the Muslim, who's sitting on about 4.3k on a good day. And that's on a day where the sun's shining for him. Remember, it's been raining, it's been hailing arrows recently. Now, Demo's in a bit of an awkward spot. No sacred sites walled in. It's one of the key things I learned playing as China and camping up as China. If you're gonna play defensive, you got to make sure at least one of those sacred sites is within your walls, or at least try and make it so one of them is within your walls. Makes it that much harder for your enemy to capture. Demo might be looking for a bit of an Imperial Age here. I can feel it. I can hear those cows coming out, and you can see that it's only a matter of time until the Muslim's going to be able to catch up on economy. So it's a bit of a slow crawl here right now for Lennox. The big thing for me right now is for the Muslim. He needs to re-wall this immediately. He needs to pull these vills down. He needs to re-wall immediately. Because if these horsemen run through the gap, it's just going to go straight to his trade. And that's exactly what they do. And they go straight past. In fact, they're just going to go for the keep. Keep doesn't have... No, it does have boiling oil. He's a dangerous man. He lives dangerously. But, I mean... You can see it coming a mile away. Not the cows! Not the cows, Lennox! Not the cow! Anything but the cows, Lennox! No! Not Bessie! She was so young! And now Lennox, instead of turning to the trade, which is actually where the good shit is, goes after all the cattle. I mean, this is fine. You're just gonna have to make some pastures again. Just please... No, he's killing the cows! Why do people murder cows? He was so young. Look, I love how he's microing between shots on the cows as well. I don't think he's microing them anymore. And it all just goes... I would almost be tempted to say like a lack of... See, I don't want to say it because the Muslim is one of the best players in the world, right? But like the re-wall on here should just be such basic level stuff. We saw this run through happening a mile away. And even though we've got God vision, you don't need God vision to know that once this wall goes down, the guy who's been making horsemen the entire game is going to run the same horsemen that he's been making the entire game into your base again and hit your trade again. And now villagers under attack. 45 economic units, 43 rather, economic work kills this game. And the Muslim now going to be looking for an Imperial Age. Fort of the Huntress going up with 40, count them, 40 villagers. 43 vills on my screen. And he's brought 40 of them. Manages to clean up this part of the back. So, even though Demo's not in the best spot, this is still, in my opinion, a winnable game. The main thing that he needs to do right now, it will actually be dependent on Lennox. So if Lennox stuffs this up, so basically Lennox doesn't have enough siege. The biggest problem right now with Lennox army, there's not enough siege. So if... Oh, we got Sacred Victory approaching. This complicates things. So with not enough... With too little siege, basically what it means is that Lennox is going to be burning through buildings too slowly. And that's going to allow the Muslim to buy himself time. And especially when you start talking about things like the sofa, then you start looking really good, because the sofa in the late game, one of the best units you can get. And an amazing unit. Look at him pushing up right against that stone wall, waiting for it to break down. There she goes. Incendiary arrows has come through as well for Lennox. Lennox looking to just try and clean this game up. Fort of the Huntress going to continue firing off. Sofa coming through. Elite upgrades have come in for him as well. What kind of defense are we talking? We're talking 8 defense here against the longbows. 13 attack. Not too bad. The main thing he's got to be careful of are these walls. Might actually use his walls against him. Lennox with all 3 sacred sites captured now. Villagers moving to repair the Fort of the Huntress. Cognizant of the fact those Trebs are working them down slowly. But the numbers here not looking the best for the Muslim. He's down 16 population compared to his enemy. And he still continues to funnel it in, but you can see just how efficient this army is. The Muslim can do this. How is the trade going? That's another big question. 32 traders, it's not looking bad. I reckon our boy's still in this. I reckon he's still got this. The main issue is going to have a sacred sites, though. Needs to send a couple of units down here to cap this sacred site, but you can see even the production down here, there's no stone walls, so it's a bit of a weak point. Could look to target it with even 3 or 4 men at arms, and slowly you'd work them down. Need to get this re-wall up in the middle. Javelin throwers running out with that faster speed. The landmark does get dropped as well. Not only do we have a sacred victory approaching, but there might be a landmark victory approaching shortly as well, as the 4 trebuchets begin attacking through, taking down that keep. Keep in mind, these guys have all got their network of castles upgrade. I suspect he's also looked to pick up that citadel upgrade, but there's no way for us to tell. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And shattering projectiles coming through. So network of citadels about to come through. But the Muslim holding on still for the moment. Second landmark under attack. Where's that last landmark? It's over here. Ooh. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, these are all snipeable positions. The Muslim might be in trouble. It might be copium right now, but I genuinely think if the Muslim can hold, he can win. The issue he's going to have is time. Town center not being repaired. Fort of the Huntress. Is it going to go up? Still going up for the moment. Falling back towards it. You can see the way he's holding. You wish that Farimba was on the backside right now, pumping out units non-stop. He's got almost 4k gold. He could just be pumping non-stop into those Musafati gunners. Elite Knights now coming through for Leenock as well. Beautiful position he's got. And now once again over on that east side, Men-at-Arms coming through and good game gets called. Leenock victorious. And the Muslim, unfortunately, going to be tapping out this game. Fellas, if you've enjoyed this game, make sure you go check out Leenock. I'll leave a link in the description. Go check out the Muslim. I'll leave a link in the description. They might be streaming live right now, so go say good day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.